Well, I wasn't planning on the snow today, up here on the mountain. Of course, back home, which is not too far from here, there's no snow on the ground, but here up on the mountain there's still some snow from the last snowstorm we had. Just shows that even here, Pennsylvania, where it's just maybe 1,000 feet elevation difference. I mean, snow or no snow. So, but yeah, well. And of course, if you look at the title of the video, I'm looking for some of the remains of what's called Fort Dietrich Snyder. I was here, was it last summer or the summer before? I forget. I lose track of when I've been to some of these places, but it was midsummer. It was hot. It was bugs, and it was all overgrown. I couldn't really see much. I did find there's an old hotel up here, well, the ruins of it, like foundations. I found that, and all the directions said that the what's left of the fort is nearby there as well. And of course, I'm talking about this fort was built during the French and Indian War, 1756 in Pennsylvania here. Of course, it wasn't really a fort, it's more like a log home that they turned into kind of a fort, kind of a lookout station here on the mountain to watch for Indian attacks coming over. So, some directions say it's only 20 yards from the old hotel, and some say it's 100 yards. So, like I said, last time I was here, it was so overgrown that I couldn't really see much of anything. So, we're going to check things around today a little bit more. Hopefully the snow doesn't get in the way too much. I guess I should mention where I am, if you don't know, familiar with the French and Indian War here in Pennsylvania. I parked, am I still in Berks County, I think? Or maybe I'm in Schuylkill County, I think. But I'm right off of Route 183, just south of, or just north of what's referred to as Strausstown. And I'm up on the mountain, on the Blue Mountain, parked right off of 183. That's where I'm at. And I'm following the Appalachian Trail right here. And in a short amount of time, you come to a kind of like a T in the path here. You could head down that way or up that way. And the AT actually heads up this way, and there's a little monument up there for the fort that was up here. But this, all along here, is an old road that used to come up over the mountain. Before they built 183, this was the way up and over the Blue Mountain. So that's why there was a hotel. The hotel was called the Blue Mountain Hotel, and the fort was supposed to be right near it. So, but we're going to go look at the monument first. Of course, the monument is right there, and the Appalachian Trail continues that way, but that old road continues on straight down that way. So here's the little monument fort here. 1755, site of Fort Dietrich Snyder, a lookout post to warn of the approach of enemies in the French and Indian War. So I don't know, I guess they put this right here. I guess they think this marks the spots of the fort. That was right in this area somewhere, because I see a trail going off there, but we'll see. Now, there isn't going to be anything left of the fort really, except maybe like a cellar hole where it would be. There's a spring down that way too, so, and we are north of where the hotel site was, and the sites I read said it was north of there, so we'll see. Like I said, I'm going to go walk down to where the hotel site was first, and we'll just kind of mosey around, see what all we can find. And just up here I can see the stone ruins of the old hotel already. Of course, back up that way was where the marker was. You can see the old steps there that went up into the hotel. Looks like the old well kind of filled in though. Not sure what that's doing here. Yeah. Cool steps right in there. Yes, this was a hotel once. Of course, it serviced, you know, people coming up over the mountain. It's kind of like a way station for people. You know, it's all traveling by horse and carriage back then. Cool little spot. It definitely wasn't a huge place. You can see the edge of it there. Over there's where the steps were. The well was right up there. Just kind of goes around here a little bit, back again. But it didn't need to be a huge place, just big enough to, you know, take care of a couple weary travelers. Because I've shown these ruins in a previous video, like I said, a year or so ago. Alright, well, I'm going to keep walking around some more. It's very different than it was, like I said, I was here in the summertime. You could hardly see anything because of all the brush and overgrowth. Alright, let's keep wandering around. And there's all kinds of old stone walls out here too, where they piled up the rocks. Because there's a field out here, so they'd pile all the rocks along the edge of the field to get rid of them. It's just loaded with these stone walls, just keeps on going. You know, these are old, these are from the 1700s. If walls could talk, huh? They can't. I'm kind of standing in this open field here where there's no rocks. It's all clear, which is unusual for being on top of the mountain. That's because all the rocks are used to make, you know, that stone wall I showed you way back there earlier. They would clear the area of rocks and you have this nice, clear open field. Because elsewhere on the mountain, if you just go over there, it's just all rocky everywhere. I'm down in that old road now that we talked about. Of course, the hotel site was just up there. If you use Google Maps, the terrain feature, you can clearly see this road coming up and going down the other side of the mountain. Because I kind of dug it out a little bit here. We're back at the hotel site here, the ruins of it. And I'm going to start exploring north a little bit now. Like I said, all the directions I read said it was north of the hotel site, whether it's 20 yards or 100 yards or whatever. They said it was up this way. So we're going to go explore up this way a little bit, see what we can find. Alright, well, I'm following this blue blaze trail just down from the hotel, and it takes you to a spring that's up here, I guess. It says spring. It's for people who are hiking the AT, the Appalachian Trail, and just right up here is a cellar hole. Pretty obvious one right down in there. So yeah, I don't know if this, I can't say for sure that this is where the old fort was, but it kind of fits the directions because the hotel was up there to the north, and they said that the fort was, you know, maybe 100 yards north of that site, and that's maybe roughly where we are here. I did read that there was, all that was left was a cellar hole, so I can't say for 100% sure that's what this is. Getting attacked by thorns here, but it fits the description. It's definitely a cellar hole. Cool, and it would make sense too because there's a spring right up here. We'll walk up to it then. So You know, back in the day, if they built any kind of building, you know, they built it near a spring. Yeah, I'm still looking down there. I don't know how obvious it is on camera, but that is a cellar hole down there. Like I said, this was not a fort, it was a home that they garrisoned during the French and Indian War. So it didn't have like the palisade walls around it or anything like that. It was just a fortified log home. And after the war, it reverted back to just being a home, a log home. Like I said, back then they would have built their home near a spring. That's right there, so it kind of makes sense. I can't say 100% sure that that's what this is. But this is where the Fort Snyder was, Dietrich Snyder, but it fits the directions that I had pretty well. And I didn't read about any other buildings being up here, so I'm going to assume that that's what this is. Makes sense. And it's called Fort Dietrich Snyder because the guy who built it his name was Dietrich Snyder. I think his wife lived here till she was 115 years old, and of course, whoever bought the property after them, they tore this building down, and they built that hotel up there. And that hotel was up there till I think I read 1915 maybe, or something like that. And that's when the Historical Society came out here and identified this area as being where the fort was. Just following the trail to that spring that's supposed to be up here. Of course, that cellar hole that we just looked at is right along that old road too, which makes sense, because that's where it should be. And like I said, that fort was more of a lookout point to see if Indians were coming over that road to attack the settlers down. So if they saw the Indians coming up that old path, there was another fort just down below here. Was it Fort Northkill? I think it's the one. They would run down there and form that fort, what was happening up here. So this one up here wasn't like a fully fort thing, just kind of like a lookout post. But it was right along that old road. And I got some mud here. And here is the spring. Of course, they have the typical pipe coming out of it, with a typical sign here for people hiking on the AT. All backwater sources should be considered unsafe because you never know what's in the water. You know, like moose poo, I guess. There's no mooses around here. Alright, I'm back at what I think was the side of the fort. Down there's the cellar hole. Of course, even to the side here is another little depression in the ground. Not sure what could have been here. Can't really tell at the moment because of all the snow. But I think, you know, I come back here later. Now that I know where this is, maybe worth just looking around a little bit more once the snow is gone. Probably won't make a video of that unless I found something cool. But like I said, I can't be 100% sure that this is the site, but you know, you could argue with me about that. But it fits like I said, it fits the description, being, you know, about 100 yards north of the old hotel site, being right along the road, and there being a cellar hole. I'm gonna put two and two together to say that's what this is. And the reason I didn't find this last time, like I said, was because of everything was overgrown, but I didn't come down this far. I stayed up more up there. So. A lot of history happened here a long time ago. Well, I apologize if you were expecting us to find an actual building still up here, an actual, you know, actual fort left over, but you know, that's 1750s. That's like 275 some years ago. Like I said, they tore it down probably back in the early 1800s already. So, but the cellar hole is still there. Alright, so I'm glad I found it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. This is just kind of a spur of the moment adventure today. Kind of wanted to get out a little bit. Didn't realize there's going to be snow up here. So I said back home there's no snow on the ground at all. Alright, I'm thinking about doing a video series on the French and Indian War as well. I know I'm doing some other video series, so I don't know, I got too many things I'm trying to do sometimes. But alright, it's still cool to come out here. It's always good to be out in the woods. Find some good history. Alright, I'll see you around.